Welcome to the 6th episode of Islam Questions and Answers on VoxPopuli.news.net. I am your host, Fair Prudence, with my beautiful co-host, Aynaz and Farrah, and today we are going to answer a few questions that we got from our viewers. You guys sent these to submissions at VoxPopuli.news.net, or you sent them to me on Facebook or Aynaz on Facebook. We put them all together and we mix them up and we take them from there. For the first question today, I'm going to read it. It's going to be an interesting answer. Can you give a percentage of Muslims that follow the Qur'an and do the atrocities such as vaginal mutilation, facial mutilation on women, young boys as dance, sex slaves, sexual abuse on girls, new wives before first menstrual cycle? I have been doing a lot of research on all of this, and I just want something that I can give as proof to all of those out there who are calling me a racist, a bigot, a hate monger, that what I have learned and put out there for them to learn to protect their families is true. Thank you, and I'm so happy that you were able to escape and live. That is quite the question. When it comes to me, because my answer is going to be super short for this, I don't have a percentage. I'm no longer in that community. I don't know. But here's what I do know, is that whatever happens does not get put out in the media. It's not like they take a census and they're like, oh, well, how many daughters do you have? I have 4 daughters. How many daughters have you performed FGM on? That's female genital mutilation. Oh, I did it for 3 of my daughters. Okay, well, we're going to put down that as percentage. It's just not. And usually in the Muslim communities, everything is very hush-hush, very to the family. Keep it secret. You don't talk about that. I know in other episodes I said that a Muslim's honor is between the thighs of his women. So that's part of the honor system. They don't talk about it. As far as people, and it is very prevalent, the more, to me, in my experience and what I have seen, the more poor you get, the wider spread it is. So when you're talking about the more poor communities within Muslim communities, that's where you'll really find it to be widespread. But in terms of acid throwings on the face, that happens everywhere. It's random. They'll go out to the mall, for example, in Jordan it's happened where they'll go out to the mall, and if a girl's not dressed appropriately, they'll throw acid in her face. And it's not necessarily the family that does that. It's just random people. But you will never, ever be able to get any kind of proof that will stop people from calling you a bigot or hateful or a racist, because people have told me those names and I've lived it. And they've even gone as far as to say, even Muslims say, oh, well, you don't know how to pronounce the word Quran, because I know how to say Quran and Qur'an. I'm truly bilingual. They tell me that I'm actually not from the Middle East and I've never lived it before, and what I'm saying is not the truth. Or my favorite, I know you know this one, Aynaz, you've just had a bad experience. But you will never be able to get people to stop saying that. All you have to do is all I would advise you to do is keep telling the truth, make sure everything is well researched, make sure you have all of the references, and if somebody calls you a bigot, pass them on. Tell the news and pass on and move on. Arguing with people is not going to get you anywhere. If people have convinced themselves, like Ben Affleck, that Islam is all rainbow farts and fairy dust, that's just what they're going to believe. There's no way you can change that. And hopefully they don't get real life experience to change them, but that's the only thing that will. What do you think, Aynaz?
Well, yeah, I would probably have the same short answer, I guess. That there is no percentage. But what I would say is what a good friend of mine always says. I'm stealing this phrase from him, but it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what's percentage. The point is, if you have a bowl of M&M, and I tell you there are 10 of them poisonous, go and help yourself. It's not about the actual number. When you hear one case, we hear way more than one, but if you hear one case, that should be enough for you to want to get up, stand up, take action, do something about it. Percentage doesn't exist. In Iran, the female genital mutilation doesn't take place as much as Afghanistan, Pakistan, or Africa. But the acid throwing on the face happens a lot, and I mean a lot. Reasons, yes, on the street, Sepah, which is one of the police groups, if you're not wearing what you should be, or you're not proper, or you have a makeup, that will happen. The other reason is that if a woman can find a way, a loophole in system to get a divorce, in retaliation, the man's family will find you. I have posted a video of 2 different cases, only one recently. That was the case. She managed to get a divorce, and the reward for it was, disfigure her face. So no, I don't have percentage either, but I can tell you, I agree with you, Farah. There's no point of arguing. I always get questioned that, oh, you don't understand anybody else's opinion. You just keep blocking people on your face. Yeah, exactly. If I wanted your opinion, I would have come and asked you. I'm here to educate, not to be educated. I have enough education, and yeah, I don't have few bad experiences. No, I lived it. Luckily, I didn't get as far as getting my face disfigured, but the rest happened. So you don't have to argue with people. If you know the truth, just keep telling it. Even if you can get one person to listen to you and start studying the Islam and the Quran, that's good enough. And I always say, I don't care. Actually, the more I get called names, I feel that I'm doing better.
With you. The second question is, I'm wondering if Muslims are against Easter and Christians and hate everything that they stand for, why do they impose their halal tax on Easter eggs and Christmas candy stockings? Is that... not sure where halal tax gets imposed on these things. But even if a country is a Muslim country and you have the Christians who are paying the jizya or not yet paying the jizya, like I'll go back to Jordan because that's a country that I've lived in. I'm not sure how that or where that question comes from because there isn't halal tax. I guess they can make halal stuff and sell it, and then there's the halal tax that they can put on it. But what do you think, Aynaz?
No, I'm not sure where the question comes from either, but I do have this answer that halal is not something by Quran, as I said before. Nowhere in Quran will you see that Allah said you have to eat halal. No, it does say clean. It does say if you got it by the agreement, if you didn't steal it. But there's no actually, I'm about to do a video on that one, which I'm guessing my head's going to go off for that one. But there are only 4 verses in Quran where it is a talk of what you could or could not eat. And in none of them does it mention anything about how to kill your animal or how to do the halal. None of that is mentioned. It's all a business. It's all a business. Muhammad, when Ali, the Imam of Shia, which was his son-in-law back then, he opened a slaughterhouse. How do we get people to buy the meat? We come up with the word halal. The meat has to be halal. It was all started. So therefore, because it's just a business aspect, even if there is such a thing as halal tax, it's a business. It's going to go anywhere it can go. If they can collect, they will collect. Simple as that.
That's right. I had, growing up, I knew what halal food was, and that was fine. But then I got some links that somebody sent me to halal makeup and halal clothing. And I was looking at it, and I was like, there are some Muslims out there. There's got to be some Muslims out there that are looking at this and being like, what a bunch of crap. That's what they're looking at it and saying. Because there's nothing even in Sunnah that I have found, and I've looked into it, not a lot. There's nothing in Sunnah that says halal makeup and halal clothing. This is all just a fad. They're just trying, like Inez said, to make more money. All that halal means is that it's killed in a certain way for Allah. The head of the animal has to be in a certain direction. They have to kill it with the knife, and it has to slice the throat. It's actually quite inhumane. because the animal is still alive through the entire thing. It's pretty disgusting, but so that's what halal means. There is no such thing as halal tax, not in Islamic doctrine. There is a tax, and then there's your zakah, which is your charity that you give away. That's about it. Anything else coming up with that, it's just crap to get more money. Now here's the thing: when it comes to Christmas and Easter, Muslims will often say, they won't say Merry Christmas, but they'll say, I wish you the best. Or, I hope you, have a great time, or something like that. The reason being, and we can put in the link to a video down here if I can find the English translation of it, they can't actually say the word Christmas, meaning in a congratulatory term, because then they admit that there was a Christ, and that goes against what they believe. And what they can say is, I wish you the best, because in their hearts, that means I wish you become a Muslim. Because to them, that's what I wish you the best means. But they can't say Merry Christmas because they become heretics in their religion. Now, if they're using taqiyya, they can use Merry Christmas. Okay, got your head? Done with that one. Okay, the third one. What is the caliphate business? Are there many caliphates or just one caliphate? Do all Muslims have to be subject to the caliphate? What does a caliphate do? Is he like the Pope? Let's start with the first one. What is a caliphate? Aynaz, you and I have talked about this before. This is how Islam got divided in the beginning. The word is khalifa in Arabic, and it refers to somebody who takes over. Min al-khilafa, who takes over after you. So, like, for example, if my great-grandmother was the matriarch, her khalifa, the person who takes after her to become the matriarch, is my grandmother. So that would be a real-life example. But the Islamic khilafah is those who came after Muhammad. Once Muhammad died, who was going to come after him to rule the Islamic nation? Because Islam is a political system. You don't have a nationality once you're a Muslim. You're a Muslim, you're under the Islamic nation, al-Ummah al-Islamiyya. I know you guys use al-Ummah too, right? Or, not you guys, Shia use al-Ummah too, right, Aynaz?
Yes.
Okay. What does that cover it? Do the Shia have a different meaning for a khalifa?
Oh no, it's pretty much the same. It's the leader who will take power after the last Khalifa, or Khalif, as they say here. Whomever is going to become the leader. Now, yeah, exactly. The problem starts between Shia and Sunni was Shia think Ali was the one, and Sunni go with Abu Bakr or Abu Bakr.
Go back to our previous episodes. We actually went into it in depth, and we talked about how it happened. The next question in that question is, are there many caliphates or just one caliphate?
There are many. Today, there are way too many, actually. That's actually the fight in Middle East right now. The Muslim killing each other is actually because of the different caliphate.
And this happened, it has been happening perpetually. At some point, the Shia went off with their own Khalifa, the Sunnis went off with their own Khalifa. At some point, even within the Sunni dynasty, I guess, there were several Khalifas or caliphates in the region, and that was one of the causes of the death of the Islamic nation or the Islamic empire. And just in case you don't know about this wasn't too long ago. The last of the caliphate was in the 1920s. So it hasn't been that long. It's not like this is ancient history. This is pretty recent in the history of humanity. Plus, of course, you have all of the underground stuff that was going on. There should be, in their utopian Islamic society, there should only be one Khalifa. It's very important that you understand. That's why because they want to have just one Khalifa that rules the entire nation. Next, do all Muslims have to be subject to the caliphate? Yes.
Don't even think about it.
Yes, I mean, you don't have to, but I mean, would you like to take your next breath? But you have a choice. It's just a bad choice. What do you think?
You don't have a choice, actually. Yeah, you do. Between bad and worse.
Yeah. So, it's like I love it when they say, Muhammad gave Safiya, who was a Jewish woman from Khaybar, anyways, he gave her a choice. She was taken as a sex slave from a Jewish tribe, and he gave her a choice. He said, you can remain a sex slave and go with the other man, or you can become a Muslim and marry me. That's supposed to be a choice. Okay. After by the way, he just killed her dad and her husband. But, he's giving her a choice. Such an amazing man. Anyways, next question. um, what does a caliphate do? Is he like the Pope? What do you think, Inez?
Huh. No. Well, what? I normally use this example. Uh, I'm pretty sure by now everybody's familiar with Ayatollah Khamenei, or they say here Khamenei, the supreme leader of Islamic Republic of Iran. He's in a way the Khalifa. He makes all the decision for the country. He says, kill that woman, don't kill that one, hang that one, stone this one. That's what a Khalifa does. He will decide the ruling. He will decide the laws. He will decide your life. He will decide your fate. So he's basically the dictator. I think it's a word in English, right? Dictator. However, in another term that we in Iranian community call a Khalifa is, we also call him the angel of death. Because
Israel?
Israel, exactly. That's the call him. Because in any second, just like Allah, a Khalifa can change his mind on a rule and flip it, and you be dead. And he has the ultimate power. No one can override him. No one. In Iran, there was a case of adultery. The court, the judge, decided that it wasn't proof. There wasn't enough proof. So they sentenced her to 25 years in prison. So we won't kill you because we can't prove that you committed adultery, but because you were accused and we don't want to let down our Muslim brother, we put you in jail for 25 years. The man, the husband who accused her, went all the way to Supreme Leader, presented him with the evidence, and Supreme Leader issued a stoning on her head. A week later, she was dead.
Wow.
So that's how a Khalifa is within Shia industry.
The Khalifa, the caliphate, is nothing like the Pope. And yes, I know what all those anti-Catholic people are saying right now. The Pope acted the exact same way as Khomeini at one point. Yes, 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 I know. I know all about the witch trials. I know all about the Inquisition. I know all about those awful, awful things the Catholic Church did. And I'm not saying that they weren't, or that they were correct, because they weren't. However, by Christian doctrine, the Pope, or by Catholic doctrine, the Pope should not be a political leader. He is not in a position to be a political leader. He is supposed to be a representative of God on earth, like Jesus was, and kind of like following in the footsteps of Jesus. And I could be wrong, but feel free to send me the verse where Jesus stoned a woman. Like, that would be really helpful. Or if you could send me the verse where Jesus led an army against someone. Or the verse where Jesus said, if somebody leaves Christianity, off with their heads. That would be nice. If you don't have that, shut up. Don't leave me a comment. Go read a book or get some counseling. Okay? Let's figure that out first. Second of all, the caliphate is a supreme leader. He is God on earth to a certain extent. He is, like what Aynaz said, Israel, or the angel of death. He is God on earth. He has all of the power to take life, He has a political power, a religious power, a social power. Inez, you had talked before about those books that Khomeini used to put out for the new religious and other social, like how you're supposed to do things, and basically it's a standard of procedure, right?
Pretty much after Khomeini died and Khamenei took power, became the new caliph, he rewrote that book.
Okay, so that's what happens now. With the new Khalifa comes the new ruling of whatever they want to do. That's what happens. The problem is with the first caliphate, and it hurts so much when I say in the first caliphate because I never thought there would be a second. I thought the world had learned its lesson, but apparently not. With the first caliphate, it kind of burned out due to extreme corruption. You had like Harun al-Rashid was a Khalifa, a Sunni Khalifa, and he had thousands of concubines and lots of corruption going on. Not that it was, again, not that it wasn't halal for him, not that it wasn't okay for him to do that, but at the same time, he stopped being so much a political leader and got consumed with all of his life luxuries. And then, of course, you know, the Ottomans and everything else that happened in the history of that region. But now we have a second caliphate, and apparently in Iran it never stopped. And now that's what we're dealing with. And all they have to do is do a mubay'ah. And mubay'ah is where they pledge allegiance to the caliphate. And once he has enough people around him, then that's it. He takes over and you become the nation of Islam. No longer do you have borders and countries and a national identity. Now everybody speaks Arabic, and now everybody has to follow Islamic doctrine, and you have Islamic political rule all over, and that's what happens. It's ISIS. ISIS is the child of Islam. It is the fruit, poisonous fruit. But you know, some of these episodes are kind of depressing. I have to say, it takes quite a bit to sit down here and talk about it, and people are never going to really accept what we have to say unless they do their research and have an understanding of it and stop looking at it as we are being bigots because bigotry is not accepting somebody else's point of view. And I guess by definition I am a bigot. I'm sorry. I'm not willing to accept somebody else seeing that it's okay to perform FGM on their daughters. What about you, Inez? Are you okay being called a bigot?
Oh, I am. I told you, I wear it proudly. Even when I'm called a racist, I just love it when they call me a racist. I'm like, how can a Persian be a racist towards Iran? Okay, but quick note, because I kind of started to realize that a lot of people don't know the actual meaning behind fatwa or fatwa. And they think as soon as you say fatwa, that means somebody's going to kill you. No, the fatwa is the ruling of the sheikh or the imam or the caliph. Fatwa is the bill. It's the law. It's the ruling. Now, that fatwa could be your death. But fatwa does not mean a threat on your life. No, it's just a ruling. And just to expand a little on when I was explaining about Khamenei in Iran, the new fatwa came out about a year ago, where he said, well, I studied Islam, I talked to Muhammad on my dreams, because by the way, Khamenei do that too. I don't know if you know or not, but he dreams, and in his dream he talked to Muhammad, and he comes back and gives laws. And it became legal in Iran that if a man wants to marry a woman who has a daughter and the daughter is under age of 18, the man can marry them both in order to be halal to both of them in order to move into the same house. A supreme leader of a country in 2015 issued such a fatwa or such a ruling. So yeah, as you were saying, this is not, 1400 years ago. No, this is last year, where in order to make it easy for a man to marry a woman with a child, go ahead and marry them both. the woman becomes a permanent wife, the daughter becomes a rental wife until she grows to adult age when, you know, in order for her to be able to walk around the house without the hijab or covering herself, and if you sometimes feel like touchy with her too, you can just temporary marriage is allowed. That's what a caliphate does.
So disgusting on so
They
many
make
different
it easy
levels.
for a man to be a pedophile.
And that's, you know, that's all it is. It's, you look at Islam, they're so consumed with sex. It's amazing. They hate us because they say that we're sexual. But they themselves are consumed up and down with sex and incest and other disgusting stuff. The fatwa, like Aynaz said, it's not different in Sunnis. The fatwa is a ruling. Now, if somebody says you have a fatwa on you or against you, yes, run. Start running. Because that means it's this pretty little place right here. But other than that, it basically in Islam, it is very strict. There is no two ways about this, whether it's Sunni or Shia. If something has been, and you correct me if I'm wrong, if something has been ruled on by the Qur'an or by the Sunnah, not the Sunnis, the Sunnah is everything Muhammad said and did. If it has been ruled, if Muhammad said something, if Muhammad said the sky is red, there is no amount of Islamic scholars, no amount of caliphates that can change it. The sky is red. Okay? Now, if Muhammad didn't quite give sky is red or a sky is turquoise, then yes, the caliphs, the scholars can get together and they can say, here's the fatwa on what the color of the sky is. Right, Aynaz?
Exactly. Yes.
But if Muhammad, don't let somebody tell you that moderates can change it. You cannot change it. That is called tahrif. Tahrif is when you change anything in the Qur'an or in the Sunnah of Muhammad, and that is punishable by death. It is explicitly said in the Qur'an, it is explicitly said in the Sunnah, it cannot be changed. You have to follow Muhammad. And then when they actually make the fatwa, they can't go too off the rails with what Muhammad would have done, right? So if for example, Muhammad said that for adultery you get stoned to death or lashed to death, you can't say that if you just kind of flirt with a guy, then you just get a hit on your wrist. It has to be something close to the original. What would you say the word is? The original sin, maybe? The original wrong?
That's exactly how the ruling of Iran goes. If you're arrested on the street with a boy or a man, and you're not married or engaged here's a little different. People need to know. In Iran, when you're engaged, you're basically married because they do the sira. So until marriage, which is the permanent marriage, the engagement duration of time is also the temporary marriage or the rental marriage. So if you're not within that border, you will be punished by lashes. Now it starts from 25. This is the minimum. You get 25 lashes if you were on the street in public, other people there. If you were arrested where it wasn't public or there were more than 5 people, witnesses around, it moves up to 45 lashes. Now, if you were arrested inside a closed area where nobody was witness, and the man says you didn't have any sexual intercourse, it goes to 95 lashes. Now, if a man stands there and says, or you were caught while having sex, then it's a stoning. See, but everything stays within the same border, exactly.
Yeah. So they could never, the fatwa on something like that could never be, oh, we will just forgive you.
No.
That'll never happen. So, that is how we are going to wrap up this lovely episode of Islam questions and answers. Aynaz, I want you to remind people, please, about your awesome show that I co-host every other week with you on Mondays, and so much fun. I love it.
I know. It is every Monday. The time is 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. They can find us on Blog Talk Radio / FPC 2015. And the link is always also on my Facebook, on your Facebook, also on liveuptofreedom.com or lutf.org. But it is every Monday, and actually this Monday you are going to be on.
I love it. And you can go to voxpopuli.news.net. I've been doing the daily Vox Shot with Anthony Chioza, and it's a lot of fun. And we've been trying to keep it to 15 minutes, and it keeps getting bigger and bigger and bigger. I'm thinking at some point we're going to have our own radio show. So you, Anthony, and I can all just go at it for like a couple hours a day, because we could easily do that every day. That's not a problem at all. But if you are looking for the other episodes from Islam Questions and Answers, go to voxpopulinews.net. We're going to have the link right here. You're going to have the link to everything that Aynaz said sitting right here. Leave us a comment. Definitely, if you're going to be idiotic, do not leave a comment. Please refrain from leaving a comment because it will get deleted. And on my channel, I will delete it. You curse me out, you can do whatever you want. I won't delete it. But on the Islam Question and Answers, if you don't have anything of input of importance, even if you're a Muslim and you want to leave something that says, here's the Quranic verses that says what you're saying is wrong, please do so. Tell me I'm wrong, but you probably won't. So go to our YouTube channel. We also have a Facebook page that you can go to, Twitter. On my Twitter, I'm at Farrah for America, and you can donate. Please, if you can spare some change, throw it at us. You can find our PayPal tab on the right hand of the screen when you see this episode, and share, and share. Leave us your comments, and we'll see you next week.